Leon Edwards shocked the world last year by landing an unexpected head kick knockout on Kamaru Usman that ended the second longest winning streak in UFC history. But if we look closer, the surprising finishing move was flagrantly seen all over his training footage ahead of UFC 278.
Dejected. There it is.
This begs the question, is Edwards hinting at his next finishing move ahead of his third encounter with Usman? Edwards can be seen drilling vicious hooks to the body in many of his training sessions ahead of UFC 286. The body hooks could be a major part of his strategy for this fight in order to compromise Usman's unparalleled endurance, which allowed the former champion to wear out Edwards throughout the championship rounds in their last dance. We will have our answer on Saturday night. Kamaru Usman reminds Leon Edwards he was taking his soul prior to the unexpected knockout. As Kamaru Usman looks to avenge his stunning loss to Leon Edwards and regain his welterweight belt at UFC 286 this coming weekend, the Nigerian Nightmare has been vocal about the fact that he has dominated Edwards in both their encounters, including the first 4 rounds of their last fight before Rocky landed a picture-perfect head kick that knocked him out cold.
I shake left, I shake right, and I'm sitting in the ambulance and they're asking me, do you know where you're at? I'm like, what the fuck? Leon gave me like a 20-minute nap.
In a recent interview on the Pivot podcast, Usman said, "This is the same guy that I beat up before. He's still going to be the same guy. I have to remind him who he is right away." In his head, he forgot about the 4 rounds before the kick. He forgot that I was taking his soul. Let's hear what else the former champ had to say.
It's going to be a little bit more difficult this time, because once you've broken through that, like in his head, he forgot what happened 4 rounds before that. You're like, yeah, I won, I landed the kick, I'm the champ, you know, I'm good. But he forgot what happened. You forgot that I was taking your soul. And so I have to remind him who he is, a guy that has let somebody take your soul twice.
Henry Cejudo anticipates Kamaru Usman will make adjustments and come up on top at UFC 286. In a recent episode of Tale of the Tape on his YouTube channel, Cejudo breaks down Usman versus Edwards' second fight, and Triple C goes on to pull out footage of what he noticed on fight night that Usman was doing wrong prior to being knocked out. Triple C is seen telling Eli Abdelaziz, Usman's manager, prior to the 4th round, "He does have to be careful, man. Kamaru does open a little too wide with his punches. Man, it's a little scary, and that's something that he has to work. He does that a lot." Cejudo then goes on to say that Usman was fighting the perfect fight, and he believes that if Usman makes these necessary adjustments, there is no reason he won't win the trilogy fight with Edwards and regain his welterweight title. Let's hear the former champion Cejudo in his own words.
Peppered this one, kind of pulled it back, bah, and then invested in the kick. You see what I'm saying? Like he was jab, it was this one, so Kamaru was just focused on this. Kamaru was just focused on this, and then this ended up coming high. But notice, watch the movement. Movement's crucial, guys. Moves, kind of pulls it back, kind of like a Robert Whittaker type kick. But other than that, guys, like rewatching this fight, like Kamaru Usman was fighting the perfect fight. Besides that first round, it doesn't matter because he put it to him on the 2nd, he put it to him on the 3rd, on the 4th, on the 5th. Kamaru Usman just happened to make that one mistake.
Islam Makhachev doesn't think the Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler fight happens. Lightweight champion Islam Makhachev has let it be known in the past what he thinks of Conor McGregor, and this time was no exception. In a recent interview with the crew of Waiting In, Big John and Josh, the Dagestani fighter, shared his thoughts about the potential upcoming matchup of the notorious and Iron Chandler. They tried to make the fight, but it's not official now. I don't think Conor wants to fight with, because he's drinking too much, smoking all day and he just can't. Let's listen to what else Islam had to say.
If they fight, I think it's gonna be 170 walking away. Maybe if he beat the Chandler, they're gonna try to push him, make 150 fight, and I know they want to give him title chance.
Well, do you want that?
Brendan Schaub reveals the heavyweight dark horse to upset Jon Jones. Former UFC fighter turned podcaster Brendan Schaub recently named the heavyweight fighter he believes could be the biggest challenge for Jon Jones. Jon Jones recently came back to action after a 3-year absence and not only became the new heavyweight champion, but did it in an impressive way, dominating Ciryl Gane at UFC 285 with a first-round submission. Schaub, speaking in a recent episode of The Fighter and the Kid Show, said, "I think the dark horse that can dethrone Jon would be Tom Aspinall if he's 100% healthy with his knee. His boxing's ridiculous, his footwork, he's quick, good cardio, black belt on the ground, good wrestling. He's a handful." Let's listen in to what else Schaub had said.
I think the dark horse that can kind of dethrone Jon would be Tom Aspinall. If he's 100% health with his knee. His boxing's ridiculous. His footwork, he's quick, good cardio, black belt on the ground, good wrestling. He's a handful.
Yeah.
But with his leg injury, he still ways out. But Jen, there's someone we're not talking about. You know who?
I'm going to get excited.
Brock Lesnar.
Do you agree with Brendan Schaub's take on Aspinall? Let us know in the comments. Francis Ngannou responds to Jon Jones and Dana White's comments. Former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou recently spoke to TMZ Sports and addressed the comments made by Jon Jones and Dana White that the Predator did not want to face Jon Jones. He said, "Look, I wanted that fight as well. I'm the one that initiated that fight over 2 years ago. I wanted that fight, but where was Jon Jones at that time? I don't know. Nobody seems interested, even Dana White." Let's listen in to Ngannou's interview.
And I wish out there find happiness, because I feel like there's a lot of anger, a lot of unsatisfaction on the other end, which I don't know, but I can control that, man. I can just control me.
Ngannou famously left the UFC in January after failing to come to terms on a new deal. Ngannou later said that low fighter pay and restrictive contracts were the main reasons for his departure. That's all for today's video. If you want to know the latest UFC news, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell, and click the like button so you don't miss any details about the upcoming fights. Thanks for watching. See you soon.